Welcome to the ParentLife Podcast. My name is Jason Stanland. I'm the middle school pastor here at Fruit Cove Baptist Church in Jacksonville, Florida. This is a weekly resource for parents who are trying to raise Christian children. November 7th is Stand Sunday, which is where as a community and as a church we support the orphan and the children in need for foster care. So joining us today we have Karen Roy and Melissa Kowieski. Okay, we're going to talk a little about their organizations. One's Fostering Hope, another one LifeLine. But real quick, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is Stand Sunday? Where did it come from?
So Stand Sunday is also, it's recognized on the same day as Orphan Sunday, which as a church we've been recognizing for years, more along the lines of international adoption and adoption. But Stand Sunday came about back in 2012. There was a pastor in Brownwood, Texas. His name is Bishop Aaron Blake. And he became a foster parent. He and his wife had teenage sons and, started fostering. And their eyes were just opened to this whole need to help vulnerable children and families in their community. So the week before his message, Bishop Blake went to a court hearing for one of his very first foster placements, and it was a very significant trial. The foster son's parents' rights were terminated, and it was just a devastating time. And just with the way that it was handled and what he saw, like how things were going, he was like, I just need to let everybody know what's happening here. So he had a message prepared for that Sunday. He completely ditched that message and got up in front of the church and just shared what he'd seen. Like, this is what's been happening since we started fostering. This is what's going on in our community, in our neighborhood. Like, these are the families who are hurting, and we need to step in here, church. Like, we need to do something. And so this sweet lady said, Pastor, I'll stand with you. I'll do something. And it was completely unprompted. And then the whole church, by the end of the service, everyone standing in support of doing something for foster care and something for these families in need. So about 2 years later, in that county in Texas, they have eliminated the need for foster families. There are more than enough foster families, and there are children in need. And it's this movement that started across the U.S. called More Than Enough, and it all started on that Sunday back in 2012.
On Stand Sunday.
On Stand Sunday.
And so that's why we celebrate Stand Sunday, because as a church, we believe that there's actually a biblical mandate to support the orphan. We find it in James 1:27. So why don't you tell us both a little bit about your two ministries, so Fostering Hope, LifeLine Children's Services. So Karen, let's start with you a little bit. What is Fostering Hope?
Fostering Hope is a ministry here at Fruit Cove. Our mission is to raise awareness to vulnerable children and families in need of our help, but also to support foster and adoptive families in our church and in our community.
So I really like it that it started here, but it's actually bigger and it's like spread out even into Northeast Florida. So it is a ministry of our church, which is really cool. But I mean, I've even had a friend from Fleming Island across the river who was served, I think, some frozen dinners or something. How'd you get there? So it was a really cool story. All right, so now Melissa, tell us a little bit about LifeLine Children's Services.
Well, LifeLine Children's Services is a nonprofit Christian organization, and our mission is actually to equip the body of Christ to manifest the gospel to vulnerable children. And so we do that in a lot of different ways and services really around the country. What we do is we focus on some main ideas, which one of them is adoption. We help families with international and domestic adoption. We also minister to pregnant women. We have a lot of young women that come and they just are really scared and they're not really sure what to do. So we have a way to minister to them and love on them and help them make a choice and show them that there are choices for them. We also do a lot of family restoration. We really want to see children in foster care reunited with their parents, with their biological parents, because we know that that's how God created us to be. And so we work really hard to restore families with their biological parents. We also do strategic orphan care. We have a ministry called Unadopted. And so we understand that there's a lot of countries that you can adopt from, but there are many countries that you cannot adopt from. So we have a ministry that actually will go out and mission to these countries, and it's called Unadopted. And so it's just working with and spreading the gospel of Christ and loving on these unadopted, children in orphanage all around the world. We also, one of the other biggest areas is we really support education and also counseling to prepare and encourage adopted and foster families.
Now, quick question, do you guys ever get to like partner together in your ministries?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that part, that you guys get to work together. So let's talk a little bit about why is it important that our church is serious about families who are trying to adopt, or orphans, or fostering, or just children in need in our community. So who wants to try and tackle that one first?
I can take that one. So why is it important for like our church to support families?
A church, any church, Christians. Yeah.
Well, as you said in the beginning of the podcast, this is a biblical mandate. So I think that, why is it important for a church to step in? Well, not everyone can do something here, and we're all called to do something. If we can't work on the front lines of foster care or adoption, we can certainly support them, and there's many ways to do that. I don't think that God intended foster or adoptive families to do this on their own. And I think that when we step in and support, and our eyes are open to it, we may have fears that are overcome by seeing that we can do this and we can be a part of this, even on the front lines of that work. So,
I think we just need to realize, God has given us all special gifts and talents to use.
Yeah.
And kind of like what Karen said, we're not all meant to adopt. We're not all meant to have a foster child in our home. But, I think of it as a lot of times Pastor Tim, he'll do a sermon on we are the hands and feet of God, and so what I think is that by using other talents, it could be you may have a gift to work with or mentor a child that's in foster care, and you can be that mentor to them. It could be you might have the financial resources to help. I know Karen probably will explain a lot of how we do a lot of wraparound care and just there's just a lot of different ways other than bringing a child into your home that people can serve.
Yeah, I like how you guys keep saying, God's intention. God did not intend that fostering or adopting would ever happen. I mean, it's all a result of just, the fact that we have chosen our own sin in our humanity. And so by doing this and participating in this, the church is declaring the goodness of God to restore His creation, to restore humanity back to Him. So, Melissa, how can a family get involved with LifeLine Children's Services?
Well, there's a lot of LifeLine. There's so many different aspects of it. So if we provide like a lot of resources, and so the goal is for really any parent. It doesn't have to be a foster or an adoptive parent. We provide a lot of resources on parenting. Even with grief and loss, we have a lot of resources there. So on our website and all of the resources, we just have a lot of educational information, articles, testimonies, which are really great, videos that are there. Also, if there is someone out there that's interested in adoption and maybe they just want more information, they could go to our website and click on the adoption link, and then they could actually do a pre-application. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're applying to adopt, but it's a way to connect with somebody in LifeLine, to reach out and start asking those questions and start, seeing if that is what God has called them to do.
Okay. And what was the website?
It's lifelinechild.org.
Lifelinechild.org. Okay, we're going to come back to more information there. All right, so Karen, again, I mentioned my friend in Fleming Island, and it's just amazing to see what the ministry has just become in just such a short amount of time. So what are some ways that families can join in your ministry?
Well, I wanted, before I talk specifics, back up a little bit on why it's important. So that's kind of where we were heading before. I think it's really important that we as families do this together because it demonstrates us living on mission in our community. We have opportunities to share the gospel with our kids with us. That's so important. One of the things that Fostering Hope helps with here in our local community is Care Portal. So Care Portal is a technology that ties our child welfare system to the church. So child welfare workers ranging from those that are trying to keep families at risk from their kids going into foster care, foster families that are taking in kids that don't have enough equipment for them, or even post-adoption helping families stay together. They're putting in needs. They're saying, church, help us. We need your help. Churches get those needs, and we see them within a 15-mile radius of our church. And so then we can then respond with our families to help these families in need. So that's one way to get involved.
And you said in a 15-mile radius
radius
of our church.
Of our church.
So it's like our doorstep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's been We launched St. Johns County in April, and we launched Duval County in June. The number of families we've already been able to help so far, it's pretty amazing economic impact we've had if you get into the numbers. But the real important part is we have an opportunity as a church to make a connection with these families and ultimately share the gospel with them. And that's
with our neighbors.
With our neighbors, and that's the goal of Care Portal. So that's one way that you can get involved with your family. Other ways to get involved with Fostering Hope, specifically at Fruit Cove, is to join a wraparound care team. So what wraparound care is, each foster family, and soon our adoptive families, have a family advocate that works with a team of volunteers. So the advocate is communicating with the foster family monthly, what's going on, do you have a court date coming up, what days are hard for you, are things really busy, how can we support you? And they communicate those needs to the wraparound care volunteers. Everyone has a gift. Some volunteers are preparing meals, some are intentionally praying, some are sending cards, some are making cute baskets with fun things for everybody. Even biological kids get involved. So the wraparound care team, we have 4 teams, so you could jump on a team, serve with your family through that. We do Parents Night Out pretty much once a quarter, so if you're background checked, you can join in on that. And even teenagers can help with that. If they have a background check parent, they can come and help at a Parents Night Out. That's a big community event, so we open it up to our church and our community, and they're usually filled within like that day.
Yeah, within an hour.
That day,
they're
they're full. So Parents Night Out is a great way to help. We have a storage unit full of diapers and clothing, and we get lots of donations, and we need help sorting, organizing, putting those away. You can get community hours for that. That's another way for families to get involved. And we also provide babysitting for our foster families once a month. So if you're a high schooler, college age, you could fill out an application and help babysit a foster family. So just all the ways that families get involved, our hope is that not only are you serving, but we're also planting seeds, for the future of, hey, that's a foster family and they did that, maybe I can be a part of that too.
And I really love, even where you started out, it's the fact that you get to share the gospel with some of these foster families and your kid gets to watch you do that. And just the eternal impact for you and your immediate family is just such a big deal. So Stand Sunday is November 7th again. You guys have an event that night, right? So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Stand Sunday is, like you said, it's going to be Sunday evening here at Fruit Cove Baptist Church. And we're going to kick it off at 5 o'clock, and we're going to be having pizza out in our pavilion. And then at 6 p.m. we'll have a service, a worship service, and actually Chris Johnson from LifeLine will be joining us.
Okay.
Yeah, we're really excited about Chris because he is not only is he a pastor, he's a foster and adoptive father. He has 10 children, 7 of which were adopted from foster care. He has a lot of experience in the state of Florida. He was a One More Child ambassador, and he also works with faith-based initiatives with child welfare. So we can't wait to hear his message.
And didn't you say you're going to have some of your licensing organizations?
Yes, we'll have local licensing agencies. Safe Families for Children will be here. So that licensing agencies include One More Child, Family Integrity Program of St. Johns County, Family Support Services of Duval County. We'll also have just any other stakeholders and partners.
So that way, if a family's wanting to really dive in and just get more information about if they want to be a foster family, or again, supporting the foster families, this would be a great event for them to come to.
Yeah, and it's for adoption too. So we're standing in foster care and adoption, for foster care and adoption. So LifeLine will be here. And hopefully Extend Your Tent also will be. They're a nonprofit that supports adoptive families.
Awesome. So if parents would like to get in contact with you, how do they reach you, Melissa?
They can go to lifelinechild.org to go to our website, or they could give me a call or simply email me at melissa.kowieski@lifelinechild.org.
Fantastic. And Karen, how can they reach out to you?
The best way is to email fosteringhope@fruitcove.com, or you could find me on Fruit Cove's campus.
That's true.
Always.
All the time.
I'm here, and I'd love to connect anyone with any questions of how to get involved.
Fantastic. Hey, parents, thanks for tuning in. This has been a great episode. I pray that you'll seriously consider how you can leverage your family to serve our neighbors. Like she said, a 15-mile radius, or the families in our community that are in our community, and we're trying to reach with the gospel, and even around the world with LifeLine. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions about the Parent Life podcast, you can reach us at ParentLife@fruitcove.com. Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions about Fruit Cove Baptist Church and her ministries, you can go to fruitcove.com. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next week.